Cold and flu season. Michelle Taylor knows the symptoms well.
Yeah, turn the page.
Her daughter Ashley is among the millions of kids battling a cold.
When Ashley gets a cold, depending on how severe it is, if she's like last weekend, she had 103 fever, and no matter what I gave her, nothing brought it down. So then I called the doctor. They asked me what the symptoms are. She usually is coughing, sneezing, runny nose, fever. Oh, pretty. Is she beautiful? Are you giving kisses? Oh.
Kirsten, during her 11 months, has suffered through a variety of cold-like illnesses.
She was so congested, and she just couldn't breathe at all. It was so hard, and Kirsten doesn't like anybody to touch her nose. At that point, I just didn't know, what to do. So that's when I took her to the doctor, because it just was so incredibly bad. She couldn't breathe.
Each year, the flu will send thousands of kids to clinics and hospitals. Did you know there is more than one flu virus? There are a number of viruses circulating at any moment. Many can result in major respiratory problems in children. What are the ones that will pose the most problems for parents? Let's take a look. Influenza, commonly called the flu, is one of the most important because it affects all ages. Studies show the flu viruses send most kids to the hospital or clinics. It hits hardest during winter and early spring. So how do you tell the difference between the flu and a bad cold? The flu is generally worse than a cold. Here's what to watch for. A fever, usually between 101 and 102 degrees, sometimes as high as 106 degrees. Some kids will get chills between episodes. A sore throat, a dry, hacking cough. A child may complain of aching muscles. General fatigue, weakness, nasal congestion, and sneezing are also other symptoms. And headaches are a common complaint. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, can be life-threatening for infants. It's the most frequent cause of lower respiratory infections, including pneumonia, in children under 2. Symptoms of RSV can range from those of a common cold to wheezing. The para-influenza viruses are known to cause croup, which is marked by hoarseness, a barking cough, a high fever, and also pneumonia. Many children will be hospitalized with this. While most kids will not have to go to the hospital for respiratory illnesses, complications caused by these illnesses can be dangerous, even deadly. Some, like RSV, can cause a child to stop breathing. This is called apnea.
If they're having apnea, depending on how severe it is, they would certainly need to be admitted for observation at a minimum, and if they were having prolonged apnea, intubation and mechanical ventilation on a ventilator might even be necessary.
Influenza viruses circulate throughout the world, but they keep changing. This is why a new flu vaccine must be created every season.
The thing that's unique about flu virus is that it can keep changing its code, so that even though you had last year's virus and are immune to that, you may not be immune to the virus that shows up this year.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report that the influenza vaccine can reduce the chance of contracting this disease by 60 to 80%. For that reason, flu shots are recommended for children who have specific medical conditions, like diabetes or asthma, but they must be at least 6 months old.